Hello everyone. In this week number 10, November 2nd, 2018, I will show you how to set up the data center. Okay, this data center. There are several things that we need to configure. The first one is the syslog server, DNS server, HTTP server, and the DHCP server. I also created a new PC to test whether all these services are working properly. As you can see in this packet tracer, you notice that I created a DHCP client to test whether all of these services are working properly. So the IP address, let me just go straight to the packet tracer. The IP address of the syslog is 45.2, 45.3, DNS 45.4 for HTTP server, and the DHCP is 45.6. And the client, I will set this up as a DHCP so that it will obtain the IP address from the server here. So how we started? Okay, let's start to set it up a DHCP server. Okay, you need to configure the IP address of a DHCP server, which is 45.6 network. Okay, and then I will put the gateway 45.1 and the DNS is 45.3, which is referred to this one. Okay, after that you need to turn on the service. How do you turn on the service? You click these services and go to the DHCP. Okay, you put the name, the pool name, which is server pool. You put the default gateway 45.1, and then you assign the IP address. You assign the subnet that you want to assign to the client. In this case, is 45.5, right? In this case, is 45.0. Okay, and then here we go. You will see this at the bottom. You click add and then save. So that's how you set up the DHCP server using packet tracer. You close this. As soon as you turn on this one, if the client do not get the IP address, you need to use static. Close this, leave it like 5 seconds, and turn it on the DHCP address, DHCP services. So when you close that, hopefully the client will obtain an IP address. As you can see that the client obtained 45.5, which is given by the server, and the gateway is 45.1, and the DNS is 45.3 from here. We haven't set it up yet. So the first thing that we need to do is to set up the DHCP server. The next thing, we need to set up the HTTP server. How do you do that? Again, you need to assign the IP address of that server, which is 45.4, and then you put the default gateway and the DNS, right? The gateway is 45.1, DNS server is 45.3. After that, you need to click the service and type HTTP. Click the HTTP. Notice that packet tracer has this file prepared for you. Don't forget to turn it on. If you don't turn it on, the services, then student will not be able to access to the web page, which is the index file. Okay, so here how to check that. If I click this and then I go to browser, right, and type www.pod1.com, is working. Why? Because I already set up the DNS service. Okay, well, let's say that we haven't set up the DNS services. We can type the IP address 172.16.45.4 and then go. You can see that. You will see the web page. So that's how you set up and configure a DHCP to configure HTTP services in the server. All right, very simple. And then the next one, you go to the DNS. How you set up the DNS? You click this one. Again, we need to assign the IP address, which is 45.3, and then you assign the default gateway and the DNS server, and the services here that is important, right? You need to go to the services and DNS. Where is DNS? Here. Okay. You need to assign the A host record, which is in this case, you name it pod1.com, okay? And you assign the IP address, which is 45.3, and you put the IP address. You click add and save. So this becomes the DNS. That way, from the client, I can type www.pod1 instead of the IP address. Make sense? Okay. So that's how you test that. Okay. Now, the syslog server, okay, you need again to set up the IP address, which is 45.2, and then you need to configure the gateway, DNS, the gateway, the DNS service, the DNS server IP address, and then you click service and make sure you turn on the syslog server. Where's the syslog here? Here we go. Okay, make sure you turn on the service. Okay, so now if I turn off this one, look what happened. If I go here and then I turn on, if I turn on the computer, look what happened here, right? I will turn it off. There we go. You see that? And that means the client did not get the IP address from the server. Now, if I turn it on, look what happened on the syslog. There we go. It's turned on. It shows the link is up. Okay. So that means your syslog server is also working. Okay. So that is how to test whether your services is working properly or not. All right. So take your time, make sure you understand how the topology works, okay, and then use Packet Tracer to create all of these services, to create these services on the server. Okay, you assign the IP address and everything else, then the services. Make sure you test it on that. So here on the PC, right? On the PC, if I go to desktop, go to web browser, right? When you type www.pod1.com, I can get the web page. Why? Because remember, in the DNS, I set up a host record that translate this IP address to the DNS need. Okay, hopefully that this video is informative and helpful to you. Please email me or call me if you have any further questions. Maybe I'm not clear on one thing, or I may miss something maybe, okay? Or I forgot something. So please email me or call me. I will try to answer within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you. In the previous video, I actually forget something. You need to set up the syslog server in the routers or on the layer 3 switch. The command is like this: login, put the IP address of this one, of the layer 3 switch. Okay, let me show it to you what I mean. Enable, show, run, right? You see this? You put login and the IP address 172.16.45.2, which is the IP address of what? No, .2, which is the syslog server, right? So you need to put the IP address of that, and then you put logging, trap debugging, and then login on. And the last one is no shutdown. I put the comment in here, okay? Login, the IP address of the syslog server, login, trap debugging, login on, and no shutdown, okay? You need to configure that one in the layer 3 switch because this is your syslog server, This is the destination of the syslog server. So everything, the logging things, the error or the warning will be put it in this server. You need to specify the IP address, because in the previous video I forget I forget to show you how to configure the syslog server from here. All right. So thank you.